Hello, everyone. KJ here. Hope everybody enjoyed their lunch. I want to let all of you know that I ate that homemade macaroni and cheese. I ate the mashed potatoes with the gravy and the dressing there. And I was thinking of all of you. I knew it was a hard thing that I had to do, but I just did it for all of you because KJ loves you all. So with that said, we're waiting on Nate Eaton. He did say before leaving this morning that they would be back at 12:50, but it is now Idaho time. 1:50 or not. Let's see, it's 1:01 p.m. y'all in Idaho right now. Good afternoon, everybody. Tina Reddington, Michelle Wordle, Joe Archer, Momo Shark, Denise CMN, Dog Mom, Marvin, Shanbama. Wish your daughter a happy birthday, 14th birthday. Joseph, Texas, Willie Williams, Hebooks 62, Lori, Paula, Raising Cane, Elfo, Terry Ward, Christie's Boutique, K-Tech, Beverly, Miss Milky the Clown 1, Just Looking, Beach Mom, CC Johnson 67, Kathy Barella, Butterbean, Chris Arnett, Adam V. That is some sketches that have been posted on Nate Eaton's his Twitter feed there, y'all. You can look them up. Lori's looking pretty rough, y'all. She's looked like she's been rode hard and put up wet. What do y'all think? Hi, Cindy. Hi, Ann Hack, Sandra Jack, Alley Cat, Melanie Scoggins, Sheila, Forrest, Marilyn, all of y'all, Beach Lady, all of y'all. We got a new thread. We're back in the courtroom and Boyce is on the bench and jurors are being brought in. We're going to continue to hear direct examination of this Detective Vince, where he's got this long last name, Komakako or whatever, but I've been calling him Detective Vince. He's with Fremont County. He's a detective there. Howdy, Mandy Pole, Dee Sunshine. All of y'all, we're good to go. We're fixing to go and hear some more. Still holding out hope that Melanie Pulowski and Ian will start to testify this afternoon. Let's hope that happens. Hi, Julie Cole, Zenaida Rivera, Gloria Fritz, Mrs. C, Angela L, good afternoon. And it's on different time zones throughout this whole world that we're on. So I appreciate all of y'all being here. Irene Calexo, Amazing Lynn, Bella Italia, Marie Burks, Stella F. Y'all, Lori got caught, says Terry Ward. She got caught. Yes, she did. Alley Cat, Eliza Joe, all of y'all. We're getting ready for some more testimony in day 16 of testimony in the Lori Daybell trial. This is the afternoon. Remember, Rays, please answer questions in the comments if you know the answers to help me out. Also, if y'all see any bots or derogatory comments or anything, please ignore them or report them or block them. Hello, Brad R. Hi, Gabrielle Scholes. Need some Z's. Says, good afternoon. I'm hoping Melanie P. this afternoon. Cutter Maji, International Nikki or Nietzsche, Emeka Cream, Heather Strock. Y'all, we're going to absolutely hear some more. We've heard a lot this morning from Audrey Bartario. I'm still letting that stuff sink in. Now, Nate says, I've seen Garrett Smith and Josh Garner in the courtroom today. They are both attorneys, y'all. Here it is, y'all. They are attorneys for Melanie Pulowski. Smith represented her in Arizona, and Garner represented her during her grand jury proceedings in Idaho, y'all. Is this a little signal? What do y'all think? They're in the courtroom, y'all. So here it goes. I don't know if they will today, but what are they doing in the courtroom unless their client's there? We'll just have to wait and see. Bella Italia saying, yippee. Heather Strock says, get that hussy on the stand. Oh, she's a piece of work, Melanie P, says Lori. Dog Mom says, yes. And Needs Some Z says, I think it's a sign. And Gabrielle Shaw says, oh, snap. Oh, Michelle Wordle says, woot woot. TM says it's a sign, y'all. I think it must be coming up. They got, I guess, a little bit more with this Detective Vince, excuse me. But we'll just see what happens. Just Looking says, I'm so ready for this. Sarah Holland says, fingers crossed. Bella Italia again, justice is getting right. Where's her dark kid, says RDNAC. Great point, RDNAC. We've learned a lot today, hadn't we? The Rays and I kind of knew it. We kind of knew when we read Ian's document, we knew that Melanie Pulaski was having torn feelings. She was telling Ian, she was trying to absolutely get him used to the idea that some of her children were going to die. And obviously, you know, now through Audrey Bartello's testimony, that they had said that Melanie P's kids were dark. Imagine that, y'all. They didn't want Melanie Pulaski to be with her kids. I'm surprised they didn't just leave the kids alone, because what did everyone else in the cult do? They left their kids behind or murdered them, one or the other, you know. So maybe they saw that Melanie Pulaski was missing her kids and just wanted to say, you know what, if you get them back, this is what's going to happen to them. Yep, that's right. When Melanie P gets on the, well, I missed that one. Still have 2 lawyers for Miss Word Salad. Right. Well, one of them was her attorney in Arizona. I can almost guarantee y'all that she never did cooperate with law enforcement at first. She didn't. You could tell just because of when they gave her that subpoena for the grand jury. She didn't want to go, but she had to go. And let me just be clear about this. When somebody is subpoenaed to go to the grand jury and they go there as a witness, that don't mean they got to tell anything. They can plead the Fifth Amendment. They can do that. And the Rays do, I know they got to remember me when I said that she'd be a hostile witness. We're going to find out just how hostile Melanie Pulaski is, because I guarantee you they got some shit on her. Now, this Detective Vince is on the stand, and Blake requests that a firearm seized from Alex's house be brought into the courtroom. So guess what, y'all? John Thomas, he brought up the idea of it, and I think the state's like, okay, you want to do this? Why don't we go with it? He says he's going to do it in his defense presentation, so why not just get this baby out of the dang bag? We will make sure all firearms are unloaded and steps have been taken to render them inoperable, Boyce says to the jury. So there you go, y'all. The state's going to take John Thomas's advice, don't you know? And I'm sure they're going to be able to show the jury, and this is why they're doing it, is to say this could be looked at from someone who doesn't really know firearms, that maybe they thought it was a paintball gun. And besides all that, y'all, even if this wasn't her idea that it be a paintball gun, it would have to be that Chad said, or Garth said, well, there's that bipolar boy down the road that has a paintball gun, and this is just a bad prank. So, you know, it is what it's going to be. It's going to be what it's going to be. Yeah, Mohawk Mom, that's correct. In the conversation, and many of y'all that hadn't kept up on this, they actually have the body cam video of Melanie Pulaski and Ian coming to the door when she's being served for grand jury. And she says a lot of things. And you know what? Of course, they say, we got to talk to our attorneys before we can go here. And obviously, her attorney, Garrett Smith, that slimy Garrett Smith, in my opinion, by First Amendment rights, we know for a fact he recorded Rob Wood and Summer Shiflett without Rob Wood's knowledge, and then they tried to get him taken off the case. That tells you everything you need to know. He probably told her, you ain't getting out of this grand jury subpoena. The bottom line is he might have told her, you can plead the fifth at any of it. And maybe she did. Maybe she did. Maybe she said some things. But when it got to the tough hot seat issues, She probably very well pled the Fifth Amendment. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just telling you it is exactly what I think has happened. Now, two bailiffs walk in with an AR-15 in a long box. There are two other items. Blake asks if Detective Vince can leave the stand to look over the items. He steps down from the witness stand and identifies the firearm. That firearm is the Alexander Arms Grendel 6.5 with a vortex scope on it. Detective Vince says there are two solvent traps that were drilled in to make what, y'all? Homemade suppressors. And there are a few rays on here that was saying that all along. What, a year and a half? Almost 2 years ago? Homemade suppressor? Yeah, he drilled holes. Custom, y'all. They don't come this way. They were drilled in to make homemade suppressors. A lot of things are happening, y'all, and a lot of testimony is unfolding where the rays on here who's worked very hard researching and analyzing and just being themselves are getting justice through understanding. And it just thrills me. It absolutely thrills me. So now, after that has been established, Blake is asking to admit the AR-15 into evidence. Yes, Audrey Bartero was in the morning, and she had some blockbuster testimony. Absolutely blockbuster. Yes, Beach Mom, that's true. A silencer can make a gun look like a paintball gun, especially if it's been retro fit and it looks a little strange. It doesn't look like it's got extra stuff on it. RDNAC says this is a touching subject these days and for the jury to see the guns. You're right, RDNAC. With all the school shootings, the fact that we know Alex Cox had an arsenal, it's scary, is it not? Now, Lindsay Blake asked Detective Vince to step down and approach the gun. He's given a handheld mic so everyone can hear what he says. The gun is placed directly in front of the jury, and the detective says the gun has a large scope that can be used as a hopper, similar to a hopper on a paintball gun. So he's explaining this to let them all know this could easily be misunderstood as a paintball gun. Lindsay Blake asks the gun be held up so the jury can see it. A deputy comes forward and pulls the AR-15 out of the box. The detective points out where the scope is, and Blake asks him to point out where a hopper could be on a paintball gun. Thomas walks over to observe the demonstration, and he should, because he's the one that thought it would be a good idea to bring it in. So here we go. Rowan to you says, thanks, Archie. Well, it was actually John Thomas, but if Archie is the lead defense attorney there, he should be he should be quelling John Thomas's little ideas, don't y'all think? Marvin says that they should ask Lori to look down the barrel. Heidi's Mind said there also can be a misfire in common with a homemade silencer, and that is a good point, Heidi's Mind. Squelch, that's right, somebody. Sometimes OKJ cannot think of the word. I'm glad y'all are there to help me out. That's a really good question, Janae Jones. Wonder if the police spoke with the bipolar neighborhood boy. Obviously, they all wrote it off, right? And then what, 10 days later, she's dead and nobody cares? Now, the detective says in his experience, a paintball gun can resemble an AR-15. Blake has no further questions. The gun is placed back on the table in front of the jury, and John Thomas will conduct a cross-examination, y'all. Tina Reddington says homemade silencers can be made incorrectly, and that's why they misfire. Heather Strock, none of it makes sense. All the way back when Chandler screwed up, Chandler Police Department. It seems like all of these law enforcement agencies, and now you can add the coroner and the deputy coroner to all this in Idaho. Well, a lot of things could have been different had they done their job or done it better. Right, Miss DMC. Even if somebody it was a paintball gun, that still would freak me out. I agree. Now, John Thomas asked the detective about his professional background, when he became a detective, when he went to training, etc. One can only hope Dyer's on fire, that John Thomas will hurry up, get it over with so we can get to MP Melanie Neese. I hope. Her attorneys are in the courtroom, y'all. Yes, Vic's Tech, exactly. Lori was overheard. It was either by Zulema or Melanie Gibb, I can't think right now, saying, "Idiot, he can't do nothing right." Renee Price says it very clearly. It's a cluster F. Yes, Terry Ward, I think the jury understands where this is going. I think they could see it very clearly. I mean, what? It just so happens to be a boy, a bipolar boy down the road with a paintball gun, but at the same time, you've got these searches of shooting into a Dodge Dakota and all this other stuff. Give me a break. Now, John Thomas goes back and reviews the events from the morning Tammy Daybell died. He wants to revisit it, y'all. Beverly says it's all cray-cray. It's all cray-cray. So Thomas wants to go down memory lane about Tammy Daybell, the day she died. John Shepard says, there is no coincidence. Yeah, that's right, Jay Hughes. Chad could have very well told Tammy, oh, you know that bipolar boy down the road? He's got a paintball gun. He probably was just trying to prank you. And let's just get for real. Nobody knows who this bipolar boy is, and there are a lot of people that suffer from bipolar disorder. And that doesn't make them bad people. And he's being accused of this. Great point, Karen Holland. Michelle Morris had my first grandchild today. Congratulations, Michelle Morris. All this time I've been telling the Rays I'd give anything for a grandchild, and here you are with your very first grandchild. Oh, happy long life to that beautiful baby. And for you being a grandma or nanny or grandma or grandparent or mama or whatever you're going to be called, congratulations. That is a real blessing. And please let the parents of that child know that OKJ wishes them all love and happiness. There's nothing more beautiful than having your child. Oh, y'all, that just warms my heart. Now, John Thomas asked Detective Vince if he made the call that there would not be any follow-up investigations on the day Tammy died. And Detective Vince says he didn't make the call. He believes Detective Manley spoke with Lieutenant Powell about the situation. A few weeks later, the sheriff's office began investigating. Rachel Carter, that's what I want to be. I want to be Mama. That's what I'm going to be. If I ever become a grandmother, I'm going to be Mama. And my husband's going to be Pawpaw, whether he likes it or not. It's going to be Pawpaw and Mama. Because my mother's parents, Pawpaw and Mama, I was very close with them. And on my dad's side, I never did I wasn't born when my dad's dad passed away. And my grandmother, she was wonderful and everything. They called her Mom after her last, it was Mom and then her last name. I'm going to try to keep that private. But honestly, I want to be a mama, and I'm going to be one. If the good Lord will allow me. If the good Lord will allow me to be a mama, I'm going to be one. At the time Fremont County got involved, we were asked to locate a Jeep with a plate out of Texas. That Jeep belonged to Tylee Ryan, and she had gone missing. That's how we got involved, says Detective Vince. Lori is taking notes and talking with Jim Archibald while Thomas conducts cross-examination. As much as I love my mother, I miss her. It's been over a year now since her passing. She was Nanny. I said, Mom, don't be called Nanny. Nanny is somebody you hire to watch your kids. She said, no, I'm going to be Nanny. And it fit her. Everybody loved Nanny. Some people say, Alley Cat says, I'm Nana, and I love it. Murray says, Meemaw here. How sweet. Olive Haley says, my mom was Granny and I miss her. It's been almost 2 years. Yes, there have been many people in the last 2 years, the Rays and people that's visited this channel that's discussed, the passing of a loved one and how much they miss their loved one. And the Rays saw me through the death of my mother. I didn't give up on this case, even though that hit me pretty hard. In fact, the Rays got me through all that. I still go through the grief of it from time to time. Sometimes I have those moments, but I know she's in heaven. I know she's with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Now, Thomas asked about the email Tammy sent to her son, Mark, while he was on a mission. And Thomas asked for it to be shown on the big screen. Well, we do. We know Thomas is just messing around, y'all, and we want Melanie P up here, but we just got to go with it, y'all. Try to get what we can out of it. Hi, Yin Yang. Oh, Lord Yin Yang. Audrey Bartero, she had a lot. You've got to go back to the first live stream from this morning. I don't think I could recap it all right at this moment, but it was blockbuster to me. Others might not think so, but it was to me. And it also made me realize just how much more of a liar Melanie Gibb is. So we're waiting, y'all. Thomas has asked for the email that Tammy sent Mark Daybell to be put on the screen. PJ Keith, he can stall all he wants. Ain't no stopping the state's case in chief. Need some Z's? You can skip through it until Audrey Bartero, or listen to the audio tonight, really. That's what I'm looking forward to hear every word she says. Nate Eaton does a great job here, but he leaves a few things out, not major things. I've noticed this since doing this. He's been really good about it, but Audrey Bartero's testimony was incredible. Tina Reddington says it's a runaway train headed downhill. The email is 3 pages long, y'all. The first page doesn't have anything to do with the investigation, Thomas says. Detective Vince says the first page is a lot of discussion about church stuff. On the second page, Tammy talks about her neighbor's dog getting stolen. The neighbor chased the person who stole the dog, confronted the thief, and got the dog, and then went into labor. What is John Thomas trying to say, that this person who tried to steal the dog is maybe the one that done this to Tammy? Right, Karen Holland, here we go. It's really hard, y'all, for John Thomas and Archibald to place reasonable doubt in here when their client is guilty as hell, okay? So they're going to try everything. You know they got to. This goes back to what everybody really pretty much wants, and that is a fair trial, which should include a robust defense, although they're meeting the minimum requirements as far as I see it. Yeah, that's true, Tina. Never heard this before, but now you know why he's got it out here. If there's somebody going around stealing dogs in the neighborhood, could it be the same person pulling a prank on Tammy? I mean, that's what I'm getting out of it. Maybe that's not what he's trying to say. Right, I object, Your Honor, Julie Coe says. What the hell's any of that got to do? But then again, the state is the one that brought this letter to the forefront in their direct examination, so John Thomas has a right to bring it in, I guess, although I'd say some of it's irrelevant. On the last page of the email, Thomas points out a paragraph that starts with his theory. Detective Vince says that's referring to a neighbor, and that the neighbor has a theory that the crazy dog lady had her husband come back to steal the dog again. Tammy says the theory is she spooked the man and he took off. Detective Vince says he became aware of the situation but did not follow up with the lady who stole the dog. So there you go, y'all. So Thomas is pointing out this paragraph that starts with his theory. Detective Vince says that's referring to a neighbor, and that neighbor had a theory that the crazy dog lady had her husband come back to steal the dog again. Tammy says the theory is that she spooked the man and he took off. Detective Vince says he became aware of the situation but did not follow up with the lady who stole the dog. So first it's a bipolar kid down the road with a paintball gun. Now it's the crazy dog lady and her husband who did this to Tammy on October 9th, around the same time that Alex Cox is doing all this searching for shooting into a Dodge Dakota that just so happened to be the kind of vehicle that Tammy drove. Give me a break. Right, Big Stacks. Grasping at straws. Thomas has Detective Vince read the part of the email where Tammy explains what happened the night the gunman entered her driveway. Detective Vince says he never had a chance to talk with Tammy by the time he got this case. And of course not, because it only been 10 days later that Chad Daybell, maybe with Alex, maybe not, was murdering her. Can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody hear me okay? All right. I had a little flicker there. I just want to make sure. I appreciate that. Again, if for some reason I get knocked off here, y'all, I'll come right back on. Just look for me. But I think we're all right. Thank you. Thank y'all. Sorry about that. This ain't no damn show. This isn't no big time studio. It's old KJ's home. Now, Thomas asked Detective Vince if he has fired a Grendel 6.5, and he asked if there is a whooshing sound after an AR-15 guns are fired. It wouldn't be a whooshing sound, but if there is a suppressor on it, it would be very quiet, says Detective Vince. Detective Vince says in Alex Cox's belongings, there was some reloading equipment, but no subsonic bullets or casings. Thank you, Rachel Carter. I appreciate it. What I was hoping that because I didn't know I was going to do this, and the reason I'd worked so hard on this for so long, I had to figure out a way for us to get into this trial because we'd worked so hard to fit the pieces together. And my hope is that people feel like, we're all together, that it isn't really just a live stream, that we're all just friends hanging out, and all that. That's really what I hope. Thank you. Jody Allen, it's okay, because we still have the audio coming out later on this evening. And you can always go to this morning's and get caught up, which reminds me, y'all, some of these first ones of this blow by blow that I'm doing, I'm taking down at the end of the week because the ads are starting to run on them. And y'all know how I've been about all of that. I'm not monetizing, and I don't want no one else to make money off of this terrible, tragic case just because I've opened up this channel. Okay? So please understand that. So if any of y'all want to, I'm sure you're already caught up to date in terms of, I'm sure you've gotten the audio and stuff, so it should. But if any of y'all want to go back to those other ones, please know at the end of the week, some of them are going to start to disappear. Okay? So the Rays know the deal. It's been going on for 2 years now. I erase everything. But I'm going to leave some of these more current ones up so that some of y'all can get caught up. But the earlier ones are going to be taken down, okay? So please respect that and understand I'm not trying to make it inconvenient for anybody. I just have a set of standards that I want to live by when it comes to the victims and the victims' family members. So I've always stuck true to that, and I'm going to continue to do that. Now, Detective Vince says a warrant was later issued for the Daybell's house. Deputies went out with metal detectors, y'all remember this, to try and locate casings, and they didn't find anything. And that again, y'all, you got to wonder if the bullets must have not even came out. It misfired, it got stuck in the homemade suppressor or something, because they never did. They never did find anything. No shell casings, no slugs. I mean, yeah, there's a possibility after the police left that evening on the night, Chad and them could have went out there and got rid of it all, but it's highly unlikely. Saltina Winchinto says, gun jammed. Yeah, RD and AC, wouldn't that have been great if the gun would have backfired and hit Alex and laid his ass out right there? Wouldn't that have been interesting? Mal says that Tammy said nothing came out. Thomas asked Detective Vince to read the portion of the email where Tammy talks about hitting the person with her clogging shoes. She ran inside to get Garth and Chad, but the guy was gone. Tammy says they thought the suspect was a bipolar teenager who lives down the street and walks a lot. Detective Vince says police spoke with several people in the area about the bipolar teenager and found out he had autism, y'all. So this comment earlier that they're trying to pin this, maybe Chad and Garth or even Tammy, maybe they were just trying to reach for who could have done this. It was a prank. I believe Chad put that in her head, that it was a prank, and then it go from there. Who would do this? Well, first they say it's the crazy dog lady's husband. Now they're saying, then they say it's a bipolar teenager. Now they find out that this bipolar teenager was autistic. And just think about that, y'all. Think about that. The irony of that. It is. It's just wrong, says Michelle Wordle. Debbie, you're right. Alex did help the state. That he's helping the state lock Lori up for life. And yet Lori all along was saying Alex couldn't do nothing right. Well, he's doing something right. Now he's going to have his sister locked up. Now this autistic, who they thought was a bipolar teenager, he lived a lot further away from the Daybells than what would have been walking distance. Thomas says, of all the people mentioned, you didn't follow up or speak with any of the people suspected of this? And Detective Vince says, that's correct. He never spoke with the autistic teenager or the husband of the woman who tried to steal the dog. And I'm going to tell you, Lindsay Blake or Tanya Rollins needs to get back up there and say, and maybe you didn't because we've got stuff going on email-wise from Alex Cox right at that time. Tina Reddington, there was a dog that a neighbor said this lady had taken, and they got it back from her, and they thought that they called her the crazy dog lady had gotten her husband to go over there and mess with Tammy. Right. That's because they had clothes matching and texts, says Michelle Wordle. Right. It's absurd, Vic's text. Goodwill Squatter says chin chud dung ball. Tina, nothing gets by you very often, honey. I think I've been picking on you today, hadn't I, Tina Reddington? Have I been picking on you? It's out of love, honey. Hello from Italy, says Rumental. It was a couple of years back that I hosted a young man named Matteo from Italy. He stayed here as a foreign exchange student for the whole school year. And we also had another young man who was from Vietnam, and they became bestest friends. They cried their eyes out at the airport when they had to leave each other and leave us. But anyway, I learned a lot about Italy. He even cooked me some Italian meals. It was really neat. And then when he got ready to leave after the school year, his family came in from Italy and stayed at our house with us, and we took them all over the place. Yeah, Goodwill Squatter, I'll confess it. I'll just confess it. All my boys had left home. CJ was the last. I was getting that empty nester thing, the good, healthy empty nester thing. And we had this big empty house, and I was so used to taking care of my boys. The idea just seemed so good, and it ended up being one of the best experiences that we've had in a while. It was Vic's text. We took them to this amusement park, and they got on this big, scary, it's called a slingshot, and where they actually has a video of them on it and everything. Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny. And they eat. I'm telling you what, they eat. They eat a lot. Thomas asked Detective Vince about gun laws and whether you have to register a serial number when firearms are purchased. He asked the detective if it would have been out of the ordinary for someone who owned one of these guns to Google how far it shoots, etc. No, it's not. It's not out of the ordinary, but it is out of the ordinary when you're Googling something and someone gets shot at around the same time. I mean, you can get a healthy inference out of that. Thomas says if someone wants to target practice, you might go online to look up the range the gun can fire. And Detective Vince says, yeah, that's correct. Again, it's taken in context, though. Just so happens that Alex is looking all this up, a Dodge Dakota, which is something Tammy drives, and all this other stuff around the time she shot at. He don't have to sell it to me. I believe it. Dogmon says common sense. Hello, Amari Cohen. Playmaker 101 Fly, there was snow on the ground when they used the metal detectors to try to look for those casings and slugs, but October 9th of 2019, you'd have to look back. And you could Google it probably and find out what the weather was in Rexburg that day. Rachel Carter and others that are talking about once your kids leave and stuff, I want y'all to know, being a mother, I'll always be a mother, but when they leave home, you lose yourself. You lose a lot of who you are. Things are way different. I mean, that's all I can tell you, Plane Maker. I don't know whether there was snow on the ground or not. I don't think there was at that time, but I could be wrong. So John Thomas is trying to say that hey, is it abnormal that people are looking up how far their guns, because people can own guns, and also if they own guns, looking up different things about target practice or going to target practice. And he's right. And he's got a point. But when we put it again in that time frame, and you look at who Alex Cox is, he is the freak out brother of that damn whore who wanted Chad all to herself. I mean, come on. My husband's boat's name is It Is What It Is. Oh, now that's cool, Butterbean. I know, I don't know why. I try to keep away from that because I'll say it too much and it's aggravating. The image showing Alex's Google searches on October 10th is back on the screen. Alex performed several pornographic searches, y'all. Does anybody want to say they're surprised to hear that Alex Cox was searching porno? Along with searches for firearms. Alex Cox was a pedophile deviant. So is Chad Daybell. Alex Cox performed several porno searches, y'all. That's no surprise, says Tina Reddington. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Explains the GHB, doesn't it? It explains how hey, I'm not going to go into it. All I got to say is these sickos, they absolutely, they can't just have a normal, natural learning and discovery of a someone they're going to have sex with. They got to make it look, oh my gosh, y'all, listen to this. The image shows Alex's Google search on October 10th is back on the string. Alex performed searches for trannies and pornography. Michelle Wordle says either I'm a man of God or I'm not. Y'all, he's looking up searches for trannies and pornography. And then someone says, I forgot because I'm just, it's blowing my mind. I'm either a man of God or I'm not. Oh. Oh, it just gets crazier, doesn't it? He's either a man or not. Oh my gosh. Oh. What the what? Says Kathy Brella. Oh my goodness. You learn something new every day, don't you, folks? I am either a man of God or I'm not. Oh, wait a minute. Am I a man or what? Thomas asked Detective Vince if he interviewed or tried to find people who may have seen Alex at the gun range. And Detective Vince says he didn't speak with anybody. Yeah, I think Nate Eaton is probably sitting there going, oh my goodness. Jennifer Sukup says, I can't take enough showers. Y'all, excuse me, I gotta go get the pressure washer outside. No, I'm kidding. Oh, just take me through a car wash without the car. Gloria Prince says Melody P said that Brandon was gay, and yet it was Alex Cox all along. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Ugh. It's disgusting. Kelly Fitzgerald says, isn't it funny how Chad moved in with Alex? Allie Cat says, I hope Zulu is listening. And Alex was a 4.1 light, y'all. Beach Lady said he wanted to be just like Lori. Hey, he was going out. They said he was out buying Lori a coat. Maybe he was buying it for himself. What do y'all think? Elmac says, it's a freak show, all right. Elmac 1969. Oh my gosh, y'all are so funny. Just when you think, y'all. Just when you think. Just when you think you've heard it. I don't even know why we're even shocked. Because I told y'all, these people were nasty. Oh my goodness, y'all. I'll tell you who's on the stand. It is a Detective Vince Kayakamanu with the Fremont County Sheriff's Department. Debbie Hersko says Chad will find love and lock up soon. I'll tell you what, Chad's going to have to start acting a little bit more feminine as he goes in there, a little more submissive when he goes to prison. Because Bubba likes his mates nice and feminine. And Chad's going to have to play the part. Now, Thomas is following up on the geofence warrant that Detective Vance had served. It was for an activity of 150 meters in all directions from the center of the house, Chad Daybell's house. Well, I don't know, Mohawk Mom. I'm sure Chad was submissive to Lori, but he was grabbing her ass at the storage unit. And if she, it seemed to me they were a give and take. That's what I think. I think it all depends, though, on which person they were. Now, if Chad was Raphael, he was probably one of those romantic Romeo types. If he was James and she was Elena, then he was the stern one. Whatever their sexual role-playing was, it's sick, it's twisted, and they can burn in hell for all I care. Dodging Bullets says they took turns holding the whip. Now, Detective Vince repeats that a device registered to Homer J. Maximus was at the church the night Tammy died. It was showing Wi-Fi hits off the back side of the church. Yeah, Erna Anspich, we all want Melanie P on there. Trust me. If I wasn't here listening to all of y'all because I need to, because y'all distract me, I'd be madder than hell that this dumbass on here is dragging ass. None of this matters. Your client is a damn guilty serial killer, John Thomas. So the Wi-Fi hits off the backside of the church for Alex. So he must be back there behind the church back there, concealing his vehicle or whatever. I do want to hear Melanie P, y'all. This is getting old. I've been sitting in this chair all day, and the only good thing is y'all. And some of this testimony's blockbuster, but I'm tired of John Thomas doing this. Spread love, not hate. Let me just say this. When you say to each their own, you are 100% correct. And I want everyone to know that nobody has a right to say anything, you know, because people live differently. People have different lifestyles. People identify the way they do, and we got to remember that, okay? But I'm looking at these damn cult members here, specifically. And them only. This is not anything other than looking at Alex Cox and how deranged he is. Thomas asked Detective Vince to review photos of the guns. Baffles were on the guns. A baffle enables the user of the gun to quiet down the sound of the gunshot. And Thomas has no further questions. Thank you, Lord. Can I get an amen, y'all? John Thomas is done. Let me see it. Let me see you say it, folks. Amen, John Thomas is done. Can we hear it? Amen, anything, yay, anything. Come on, let's see it. Yahoo. Yahoo, y'all, whatever. Hallelujah, amen. Okay, y'all, this could be it. This could be it. Tina Reddington, whoop, whoop. This could be it, Daughter of Scotland. This could be it, Adam V. This could be it, Just Looking, or Kawaii Mom, or Amber E, or CIM, or Dodging Bullets, or Birdie, Heather Strock, Sandy Gale, Penny T, Somebody, Donna Shute, Denise, Yin Yang, Michelle Wordle, all of y'all. It could be the time that the Melanie niece. Let's hope, y'all. Let's hope. That's all I want to know. Lindsay Blake has some follow-up questions. She asked why no detectives responded to Tammy's house on the morning she died. Detective Vince said he called the coroner, and the coroner said she had already spoken to Mattingly. Detective Vince also spoke with the deputy, and everyone said nothing was out of the ordinary. All right, Lindsay. I know you got to do your job. But just as Chandler, Arizona, Chandler Police Department did everything wrong on that, the coroner and the deputy coroner screwed Tammy Daybell out of her justice, at least for a while anyway. And it was because of their error that she had to be exhumed out of her grave. I'm glad they were able to do that and get this change in her cause of death and manner of death. But folks, this should have never went any further than slapping the damn cuffs on that damn asshole. We're waiting, y'all. That's right. God doesn't make mistakes. Jet Set J. You're right. Y'all are funny. Y'all are very funny. Lindsay Blake asked about Alex's Jeep and when the request was made to Fremont County to help look for the vehicle. And Detective Ben says on the morning Tammy died. And Fremont County did not have all the information about all the other investigations into J.J. Tiley and Charles. So this is the state of Idaho's prosecuting team trying to let the jurors know the reason why they screwed up. Not the team, but these people. That's the coroner and the deputy coroner, really. And the fact that they called law enforcement, the law enforcement officials did not know that they didn't know about J.J. Tiley and Charles. Molly, have faith. Blake asks Detective Vince if a bipolar teenager or the husband of a dog thief seemed plausible suspect in a gun incident, and the detective says no. Y'all know how this works. Have faith, Molly. It's okay. They could start questioning her and continue into it tomorrow. It's okay, dodging bullets. We'll see. Blake says, do you get a lot of reports of masked gunmen in the area? And Detective Vince says no. At the time of the shooting, there was a blinking yellow light at the intersection, but no other light in the area, he says. And it is 2:03 p.m. in Idaho, y'all. And Molly and Dodging Bullets are pointing out the time and that breaks will be had and stuff of that effect. Folks, I'm not giving up. I'm not going to give up. Don't say that, Mohawk Mom. They won't go on a break. They just got back from lunch. Goodwill squatter Stacy was Lori, Alex, and Adam's sibling. She died. She's Melanie Pulowski's mother. Heather Strock says, we waited 2 years. Today is the day. If it isn't today, y'all, it'll be tomorrow for sure. But I'm hoping they'll start today. Yeah, Solon. Vixtech says Stacy's death was suspicious. We know after her death, Alex Cox ran up her credit card. But that's how that family rose anyway. Isn't that the way Barry does things? He don't pay his income tax or nothing. Blake asked Detective Vince if he can tell if the gun was threaded for a silencer or a suppressor. And Detective Vince says it was threaded for a suppressor. That would change the sound when fired. Looks like to me the state and the defense is eating up time today, don't y'all think? Right, dodging bullets. Blake asks, when you conduct an investigation, do you go where the evidence leads you? And the detective says yes. He says he was not able to question Tammy Daybell after the incident because she was killed 9 to 10 days later. Well, Beach Mom, Melanie Pulowski is testifying. It doesn't matter how much the defense drags their feet. Blake has no further question. Boyce asks for a sidebar, and white noise is played. And I'm going to tell you what. Boyce has asked for a sidebar. If he tells them this is we're going to call it a day, he can kiss my country ass. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all these breaks, these days off, these long lunches. It's not right. It just isn't right. Right, vintage mama of 3. You add all the breaks and the extra minutes in these lunches and these days off. That's damn how many days of that they could have done trial. It's stupid. It's just stupid. Right, Tracy Dale. It is. It's costing the victims' family members money for their hotels, their meals. Not to mention these jurors, some of them probably work. They need to get back to their lives at some point, don't y'all think? Trevor Levesque says, taxpayer money. They better bring that damn hussy look-alike in. That's all I got to say. I mean, for goodness sake, Melanie Pulowski's 2 attorneys are in there. Can't we just get this show on the road? And would it really hurt anything to go past 3:30, maybe to 5 o'clock, so that we can get some more testimony in? Yeah, John Shepard, they don't get paid crap. The jurors only get $10 to $20 a day. Andrew F. says they need temple time. You think LMAC 1969? Don't you say that. Don't you ruin it for me. Melanie P's going to be the last witness for the state? Come on. Right. We do want Melanie and Ian on the same day so they can't compare notes. I get that. Maggie Lee. Oh, Lord, y'all. I'm sorry if I got y'all's hopes up about this. I just don't see it happening. This day's just gone by so fast. Yeah, spread love, not hate is talking about the jurors and what they're having to go through and all this, y'all. Could be Ian first, but it don't matter who goes first, y'all. It does make sense that they would schedule it where they both testify the same day so they can't compare notes. That makes all the sense in the world. That's true, Mohawk Mom. They've had plenty of time, Ian and Melanie Pulowski, to get their story straight. Judge Boyce says he's going to take up a motion outside of the presence of the jury. They're sent out of the courtroom for a brief recess. So I'm assuming we're going to get to hear what this motion's about. Y'all, does this have anything to do with Melanie Pulowski and Ian? Does this motion have to do with either one of these damn stupid-ass attorneys for Melanie Pulowski? That they don't want her there or something? Some stupid shit? It just says Boyce is going to take up a motion outside of the presence of the jury, y'all. So this means that he'll deal with this motion where we can hear it, right? Tina, don't tell me that. They can't do this stuff outside of the public viewing of it. Can they? I guess Judge Boyce can do whatever he wants to do, right? That's what he's been doing. LMAC 1969 says motion to quash Melanie Pulowski's testimony, you think? Mohawk Mom, we don't know yet. It just says takes up a motion outside of the presence of the jury. Yeah, it would suck, Tina Reddington. We have every right. And even if we don't, the victim's family members have a right to hear about this stupid woman who wanted to take out her own kids, who lied. All right, here we go. Boyce says the first thing he needs to address is an Idaho rule that says parties must stipulate to allowing enlarged items or guns versus photos of the items. Both defense and prosecutors agree. So thank you. That's not it's not the worst. I don't see why he's even doing this, because it was John Thomas's voice that's being transcribed from the thing saying, if we don't get these guns out here, we'll do it in our defense case. Oh. So this is about that. Well, what's interesting about it is why didn't he do this before they did that? I mean, are we doing this shit ass backwards? Is this what we're doing? You're going to let the guns come in. You're going to show these actual guns to the jurors. Now you're going to come back and talk about an Idaho rule. Well, what if John Thomas would have said, well, I just said that, and I can't believe they showed it. You see what I'm saying? They could do that. They could do that. The other issue Boyce needs to address is the exclusionary rule, Tina Reddington. Archie says Melanie Pulowski listened to testimony and read stories about the trial. We believe that Ian Pulaski has violated the rule because he talked to his wife. His wife, Melanie, has admitted she violated the exclusionary rule. We would ask the court to conduct an inquiry, and if they violated the rule, that they be excluded. Y'all, isn't this what David Warwick tried to do? Huh? Can y'all believe this shit? This court is going to see that these people that were slated to be state's witnesses purposely violated the exclusionary rule. Y'all, this is so stupid. These people are evil. These people are awful. These people are terrible. They need to be charged with contempt of court. And I hope that second grand jury slams Melanie Pulaski up her damn ass. They knew this. They wanted to get out of it. They want to protect Melanie Pulaski's precious Aunt Lori. Give me a break. I can't believe this shit. It was intentional. Melanie has admitted she violated the exclusionary rule. We would ask the court to conduct an inquiry, and if they violated the rule, then they may be excluded. And guess who says that? Archibald. Archie says that Melanie Pulaski listened to testimony and read stories about the trial. And we believe that Ian Pulaski has violated the rule because he talked to his wife. Well, I'll tell you what, Melanie Pulaski's going to have to live out her life knowing what she was a part of and what she knew. And I'll tell you something, her feet might not be held to the flame. She might never ever go to jail or anything, but I'll tell you, the biggest punishment that woman will ever have is just being who she is and what she did. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I think the state of Idaho should go back and charge them. What do y'all think? I think they should charge them. Blake says Ian has not violated the exclusionary rule, and you can't dismiss him just because his wife may have violated the exclusionary rule. Boyce is having Ian brought in for questioning to see if he violated the rule. Blake says the state may call Melanie P., but they asked Boyce to take that up as a separate issue. We are now taking a break until 2:40. So we got 20 minutes of KJ bitching and whining over this damn Lori lookalike. No accountability, says Four Smarts One. Can y'all believe this? Yes, Denise. Melanie P. spitting on the court. Well, I'll tell you something. This, the statute of limitations on anything that they could charge Melanie Pulaski with as far as accessory to murder and all that, I hope the state really considers it. She wants to do this. She wants to do it knowing she's not supposed to. When she got her subpoena to be a state's witness, it was clear that she wasn't allowed to do any of this, but she did it anyway because she wanted to get away with it. She did not want anyone to know how evil and absolutely freaky she is. I am so mad right now, y'all. I am so mad. I don't know why I didn't even think of this. Because David Warwick tried this shit. And we know, I told y'all, I told the Rays, what was she going to be? She was going to be a hostile witness. I've said it all along. I don't know why I'm even surprised. This is the one time that I wish I'd have been wrong about her being a hostile witness. I just wanted to hear something. I wanted to hear Melanie P. get on that stand. And I wanted her to tell her part in all of this. And you know what? Now that I've got all this new information and she doesn't testify, if she doesn't, OKJ's going to shoot a live stream or a pre-record. I'm not sure which one yet. And I'm going to tell you exactly. I'm going to tell you exactly about Melanie Pawlowski. Oh, I know. It's just theory. It's just hypothesis. But when you add all those pieces together, especially now that we know that Audrey Baratario was in Hawaii with Melanie Pawlowski, and Melanie Pawlowski wasn't ready to leave Hawaii, although she's telling the whole damn world that all she's done is try to get her kids back. Give me a break. She absolutely. And you know what? The bottom line is that I'm going to put it together. I'm going to put it together with or without her damn testimony. And I hope the judge will at least let Ian Pawlowski testify. But guess what, y'all? There could be an FBI agent come in with the recordings of Ian with Melanie Pawlowski's voice on it. So she can run and she can scamper away like the damn cockroach she is. Surely we could hear that. I'm just so mad, y'all. I'm so mad. The Rays on here know for 2 years we have talked about Melanie Pawlowski and Ian Pawlowski. And this was something that we really wanted answers. And I guess we got our answer, didn't we? Because KJ said it. She was going to be a hostile witness. Well, it didn't dawn on me what that really meant. It does dawn on me now. She'll do whatever she can to get out of her culpability. She is the epitome, y'all. She is the epitome of what this whole cult stands for, you see. Taking no responsibility, not wanting to let anyone know their part in anything. I guess in some ways, if she would have testified, she'd have done what all the other ones have done anyway. She would have left shit out. She'd have lied by omission. She'd have lied on the stand. She would have had a watered down testimony. And most importantly, she would have distanced herself from all of it. It would have been just as much of a disappointment as Melanie Gibbs' testimony, y'all. We weren't never going to get any real answers. And I'll tell you what, Melanie Pawlowski is the biggest coward. If this woman really was sucked in, and now she's seen the error of her ways, what's wrong with going on the stand and telling the truth? Don't you want to rid yourself of all that? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe if she got on the stand and said anything, it would implicate her. Well, I'll tell you what. One's got to wonder, was she giving you some immunity? Probably not. Probably didn't get any kind of immunity because of what, y'all? My theory, she never would cooperate with law enforcement. You never saw any interviews about this case. The only interview we saw about Melanie Pawlowski was on the attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life. And I'll tell you what, if she gets out of testifying here, let's just hope Arizona will do the right thing and charge her ass for the attempt on Brandon's life. Conspiracy to do that. And, maybe the state of Idaho, their whole plan all along was just to get the big fish. But I'm just telling y'all now, These big fish would have never become big fish if they wouldn't have had little fish over there agging it on, lifting them up. It takes cult members to have cult leaders, don't you know? Nate Eaton does put on his tweet that he interviewed Melanie and Ian Pulaski in May of 2020. And if you go on there, you can go on YouTube and find them. You'll see that she says everything from it was a planned move to Hawaii, that her Aunt Lori hasn't done anything wrong. She talks about how she's been trying to get her kids the whole time. Does she say anything in the interview with Nate Eaton that I was hanging out in Hawaii with Audrey Partello and Lori, and Audrey wanted to leave. Lori was going to leave, but I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay in Hawaii, so Audrey stayed with me. No. And there's other things too that come to mind that she absolutely didn't want to talk about in her Nate Eaton East Idaho News extravaganza. The same with Melanie Gibb, don't you know? Melanie Gibb wants to come on out there and act like she's this victim. Melanie Pulaski wants a victim's advocate. The bottom line is I hope they get her, because I'll tell you this right now. It might not be here in the near future, but Melanie Pulaski, if she'll believe any of this shit and go along with it and not give a rat's ass about Tylee and JJ, she lived right next door to them. The bottom line is that she'll believe anything. And we might just not be hearing the last of Melanie Pulaski. She's a disgrace. And guess what, y'all? She's probably still an active member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, along with Zulema, Melanie Gibb, David Warwick, Audrey Baratario, all the rest of them. They're all still active members. And it's a shame. It really is. Because when you think about what they did and how this has caused that organized religion to look as bad as it does. And don't get me wrong, y'all know where I stand. I'm for personal responsibility no matter what you believe or what religion you are. You're either going to break the law or you're not. And you make a conscious decision to do that. With or without your belief system, you do. And hey, ignorance of the law ain't an excuse either. It's sad. It really is. That this is what we've got. You know, and I told the Rays a long time ago, I was like, you know, I just want to see this adjudicated. I want to see the process. I want to know that there's some justice out here and all this stuff that I guess I was so stupid to think that it would be anything else. But seeing this played out right in front of my eyes, Melanie Pulaski actually doing this on purpose. Make no mistake, y'all. There's no other explanation why she did what she did other to get out of being a state's witness, i.e. a hostile witness. I called it. And I'm not happy I called it. I didn't want to be right. It's not about right and wrong. It's about justice. I'm just so angry about it, y'all. That's right, Lainey. There is no other explanation. Melanie Pulaski gave Alex Brandon Boudreaux's new address. He only had given it to her and a couple of his friends. And as y'all recall, Melanie Pulaski's interview talked about her and Alex got so close. And the time that her and Alex and Melanie Gibb were standing out there, this is Melanie Gibb talking on our East Idaho News Extravaganza, saying that Alex said, oh yeah, they think I shot at Brandon. And Melanie Pulaski standing right there. No, it's not definite. It's not definite that Melanie Pulaski is not going to testify. I just don't see it now. Because Melanie Pulaski not only is going to have to be questions about it, but her attorneys are right there. And Archie has said Melanie Pulaski admits that she broke the exclusionary rule. David Warwick never went that far. He never said, yes, Your Honor, I broke that rule. No, Melanie Pulaski has made it very clear. She wants it on the record because she's a hostile witness. And I hope the state charges her with something. And I hope she goes down. Just Samantha says that Ian is taking the stand at 2:30, so probably we'll end with him. Beach Lady, they're not going to charge her with contempt. She's going to slither away. She's going to slither away. Rosemary, I'm not sure if they can show those interviews of Melanie Pulaski. I don't know if that was part of the state's discovery that was disclosed to the defense. What I can say is there's hope that an FBI agent will come. I think it was Ricky Wright can come in and say, these are the recordings that Ian did for us, and with Melanie P's voice on it. And make no mistake, y'all, if that happens, it's going to show Melanie Pulaski is all up Lori's ass, believing all this crazy ass shit. You better believe it. Yes, Maggie Lee, I think she does. I think all these cult members deserve some jail time. I do. What kind of message is Idaho sending here? That these people can be part of this stuff and then nothing's going to happen to them? I know there is no proof that they actually murdered any of these murder victims. But it seems like common sense that when you live next door to your aunt, and you know your aunt has JJ and Tylee there, and she's asked this question more than once from Nate Eaton and this other, I think it was Fox 10, or maybe it was KTVB, and she says, well, when they ask about, well, where, didn't you notice you were there a whole month? Nate Eaton even says, you know, hey, one of the conversations I usually have is about my children right off the bat. And she says her answer for not really saying anything is, number one, she was getting her nest, her house in order for the return of her children. I guess so she could get them there at the apartment so she could murder them like Lori murdered JJ and Tylee. Also that Tylee was with her friends and JJ was in a special school. Well, did either one of them come home? I mean, I can see if Melanie P was saying she's off at BYU, Idaho, or, you know, off with her college friends or something, and maybe that's why she didn't see Tylee. But JJ, I mean, how long does he go to a special school before coming home at night? She knew. And make no mistake, y'all. When Tammy's being murdered and Audrey Bartario Melanie Pulaski and Lori are in Hawaii. Do you think it crosses Melanie Pulaski's mind? Where is JJ and Tylee? And do you think it crosses Melanie Pulaski's mind when she's up and visiting all these historical temple sites or whatever they are in Missouri with Lori? You think Lori, she doesn't want to ask Lori, where's Tylee and JJ? It was never about me hearing Melanie Pulaski's testimony to confirm something that I know in my heart of hearts, and many of the Rays know. Melanie Pulaski knew that JJ and Tylee were dead. Okay? She knew that. Because she went on to tell Ian that she worried for her children. And then she goes on to say, if what happened to Brandon, maybe the kids and all this. You know, it's weird that she frames it after the fact that it was just fears, concerns. It wasn't that she knew, right? Well, if these fears and concerns line up to actually what happened, I'm destroyed, y'all. I'm disgusted. She knew a lot, Rosemary. Melanie Pulaski was there from day one when Lori was meeting Melanie Gibb at that church. Melanie Pulaski was there. Melanie Pulaski was there in the hotel rooms and where they were doing the castings. She was at the other castings. Melanie Pulaski was everywhere you could be. She was Lori's little mini-me. Kim Top, I know you've been around a long time too, and all you Rays on here that's been here for 2 years, y'all, I just had this feeling she's not going to testify. I'm not confirming that, but it really bothers me. Because every bit of light shown into the darkness disinfects all that crazy evil stuff. And we're not going to get to hear it. Andrew F. says, I was here in another life, KJ. Wouldn't that be great, Heather Strock, if Boyce would make her testify? Then all these people, including myself, that think Boyce is teetering one way and the other. Some people just downright don't like Boyce. What if he makes her testify? I guarantee you. If he makes her testify, she'll sit up there and say, I plead the Fifth Amendment. Thus, a hostile witness. Oh, wait a minute. Let me back up a little bit. Would she have a problem being part of the defense's case, getting up there for Archie and Thomas and saying, Lori is so wonderful. She didn't do anything wrong. It was all Chad. Oh, my Aunt Lori, she would never hurt those children. I guarantee you, if given the opportunity, Melanie Pulaski would get up on the stand for her Aunt Lori, but she won't do it for the triple murder victims. You know why? Because she was part of the plan. She was part of the plan. Tammy Brown, Judge Boyce has to basically question Melanie Pulaski and Ian to see whether they have broken the exclusionary rule. So, all I got to say is this, y'all. I mean, people, they learn, and there are things in people's lives that they've done really bad things, and they can turn their life around and all this and that, but they at least try somehow, some way to make things right. She's not making things right. She just wants to let it go, forget about it, move on with her life. That's her prerogative. But I'm going to say this. I feel sorry for anyone that lives next door to that evil Lori Hussey niece. I feel sorry for anyone that has to deal with her. And if I ever got to see her, I'd say you're nothing more than a damn toady. That's all you are. Because you're not helping yourself like you think you are. You're helping to hide the evil, diabolical nature of what these people did. You know why, Melanie Pulowski? Because you were one of those people. And you're going to have to live with it. It's just aggravating. Linda Nolan, how can Ian let her near those kids? Well, Linda, the bottom line is they've got a child together. I wonder how Natalie, Ian's ex-wife, feels about it. But the bottom line is life goes on with all of them. Maybe Melanie Pulowski's just such a good actress about, I got sucked in like all the rest of them. I didn't really do anything wrong. I just loved my Aunt Lori. Is there something wrong with loving your aunt? Well, Ian wanted to get her out of trouble. She should have never been in trouble in the first place. If she didn't want to be with Brandon, she didn't have to lie and say Brandon was gay. Brandon is remarried to a really beautiful woman, by the way, and he's got a lot of money. And anyway, so everything she did was her decision to make. Didn't matter. This goes back to this whole concept that the defense says Lori changed once she got with Chad, and he influenced her and all this and that. This goes back to Melanie P. Is someone going to say that Lori influenced Melanie Pulowski? And that's why Melanie Pulowski did what? Did what? It had to be something illegal, y'all. Because if it wasn't nothing illegal, what the hell does she have to damn hide? No one is at fault except the one who made the choice to kill, says Dodging Bullets. Well, I understand where you're coming from on that Dodging Bullets, but I'll tell you something. When you've got a bunch of people that are believing this crazy ass stuff and believing that Chad and Lori are the king and queen of the 144,000, and they're being there and believing that makes Chad and Lori emboldened. Is that any different than people that are standing around watching someone else kill someone or knowing about someone else killing someone? Make no mistake, Melanie Pulowski knew that Tylee and JJ were dead. And Goodwill Squatter says it really good. It doesn't matter. If Melanie Pulowski, you don't protect child murderers or murderer of Tammy or Charles Vallow. You don't protect those kind of people. It's obvious that Melanie Pulowski wanted to do this to get out of it because she would have been a hostile witness. She didn't want to answer the hard questions. Right, if you're the getaway driver in a robbery, you're just as guilty as robbery. Just think, how many opportunities did Melanie Pulaski have to go and talk to Janice or Summer or law enforcement or anybody outside of all of that? She had every opportunity to go and talk to somebody, but she didn't. She didn't stop in this cult until what happened. Chad and Lori took off and left her high and dry. Even Zulema said in her last police interview that Melanie Pulaski was so pitiful. And the way that Zulema explained it, Melanie P. just had to hear from Lori and Chad. She just had to have a little more of a blessing. She had to have a little more of that. And this whole thing is she can't do that, Rosemary, because she believed in the cult. Well, Audrey Bartero got on the stand and said she believed it. She believed that she was Jesus Christ's wife, Joanna. But Audrey Bartero came on the stand. You had Melanie Gibb and Zulema do admit some things, that they believed it or wanted to believe it. But not Melanie Pulaski. She just can't bring herself to do that. Although we know for a fact that at these castings, through an interview with Serena Sharp, as a matter of fact, which you can find on YouTube, Melanie Pulaski was bringing malachite stones to the castings. Oh, we know that was just a bunch of crazy stuff that they were doing, that it really didn't mean nothing, really. But just to know, now we know, it wasn't just about Charles or Brandon. It was about JJ and Tylee and Tammy. Melanie Gibb and Zulema don't want to admit that, but we know it now. Even Audrey Bartero admitted that on the stand today. Melanie Pulaski, you think Melanie Pulaski was in a casting with her malachite stones and heard the word JJ and Tylee before they were dead? And then all of a sudden they're not there about a month or so later? You think she can't put two and two together? Why can't she go and tell them, well, Lori told me they were with, that JJ was with Kay and that Tylee was with at BYU? No. JJ was in a special school and Tylee was with her friends. Yeah, right. Curly Shirley says we're back, but Nate Eaton hadn't updated anything yet. So y'all just take, if y'all see anything in the comments where someone's looking somewhere else, be looking at the comments, y'all, until Nate comes back. Y'all, I'm bummed out. I've been doing this for 2+ years. I know it seems a little fanatical to y'all, but it was a lot more than just the case. It was justice through understanding. It was the bonds and the friendships, the research and analysis. It's just a bummer to me. If Ian's on the stand, then I don't see it yet. Okay, here we go. Now they've updated. Back in the courtroom, Boyce is on the bench and jurors will not be brought in until it can be determined if Ian Pulaski violated the exclusionary rule. Witnesses were told not to listen to other witness testimony or read or watch the trial. Melanie Pulaski obviously didn't give a shit, did she? Ian Pulaski is here with his attorney, Garrett Smith from Arizona. Starry Crown, it's okay. We just have to take what we can get. We just have to take what we can get. They might excuse him too. Maybe this was Ian and Melanie Pulowski's plan all along. Thank you, Maggie Lee. I appreciate that. Thank you, Tammy. Somebody please recap some of these people that's just joined. Please raise. I just ain't got it in me to repeat it. I'm only human, y'all. Thank you, Paula. I want to repeat this while I can. Well, I will in a minute. Ian says his wife has not listened to any witness testimony, but after her ex-husband Brandon Boudreaux testified, Melanie looked up some headlines. Ian says he has seen headlines but has not read or watched anything. Archibald is now questioning Ian. And so now while I'm waiting on the refresh, I just want to repeat this, Raise. If Melanie Pulowski does not testify, I'm going to take every bit of what I've learned in this trial, along with all my 2 years of research and analysis, and I'm putting it into a live stream or a pre-record on that damn Lori Hussey mini-me, Melanie Pulowski. I'm doing it. Because if she ain't going to have the guts to damn fess up, then I'll just do what I got to do. Susan Scott says they're saving her for Chad's trial. Oh, trust me, y'all. Trust me when I say she's not going to turn against her beautiful Aunt Lori. Lord, Nate Eaton wouldn't want to do an interview with me. Archie asked if Ian was in the same meeting when Melanie met with an FBI agent and Lindsay Blake. Ian says no. Ian says he and Melanie arrived in Idaho on Monday from Arizona. Ian says he and Melanie have talked about the case. Not this old country girl, I can tell you that right now. And besides that, I don't need Nate Eaton of East Idaho News to give me an interview. I've got all y'all in here. Y'all are a heck of a lot more cool to deal with and hang with and hear questions from and stuff. I don't need no interview from nobody. Thank you, Brenda Brasher. Melanie made a statement to the statement and officer. The nail is already in Lori's coffin. This is what Melanie Pulowski has said. The nail is already in Lori's coffin. And Archie says, asking if Ian overheard Melanie say this. Ian says he did not hear it, and they have never said anything like this to each other. So, Melanie Pulowski has said, y'all. Melanie said it to an officer. The nail is already in Lori's coffin. So, what? What? The nail is already in her Aunt Lori's coffin? So she's not going to add to that? Well, if the nail is already in her coffin, then take your ass up there and get on the stand and do the right thing. Give me a break. Archie asked why Ian brought an attorney with him, and Ian says this is a complicated matter and he wanted one here with him. The attorney also represented Zuzu. Ian says his attorney has not told him one thing about Zulima's testimony. Ian says he didn't ask, and Smith never told him. Boy, that's interesting, is it? Garrett Smith is Zulima and Ian Pawlowski's attorney. Y'all think that's a conflict of interest? What do y'all think? Archie says, you're claiming you don't know anything about this case because you haven't listened to anything since it started 5 weeks ago. And Ian says, correct. So Ian, y'all, Rays, do y'all remember me saying this many, many times? I want you to hear me on this, Rays. Ian is the key. Remember me saying it many, 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 many times? I also said Melanie Pawlowski was a hostile witness. Surreal, y'all. Archie has nothing further, and Blake asks for a moment before she questions Ian. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Donna Donald. I'm so mad, y'all. I'm so mad that Melanie Pawlowski's getting out of this. I just feel like she's going to get out of this. It's not right. None of them got in any kind of real criminal trouble. It hurts me that these people could have known this stuff, could have stopped it. Lindsay Blake asked Ian to clarify again that he had not read or watched anything about the trial. He says he has not. Boyce determined Ian has not violated the exclusionary rules, so he is allowed to testify. Okay. The jurors will be brought in now. Okay, y'all. But we also haven't gotten confirmation that Melanie Pawlowski, according to Judge Boyce's determination, that she has violated the exclusionary rule, but y'all know it's coming. You know it's coming. Y'all, this is going to be really, really good testimony. I really believe this, y'all. I really believe this is going to be really bombshell. I will say this, though. Throughout it all, Ian has always tried to protect Melanie Pawlowski. So I'm not going to be surprised if he tries to tiptoe around all that. But I still believe he's going to tell us a lot. John Coombs says, justice for the victims, hearts for the... Y'all, let's all put hearts up now. If you feel so inclined to do so, let's all put hearts up for the victims. Please, it'll make me feel better. Oh, they're so pretty. Y'all are so sweet. I love y'all. Y'all are so sweet. Y'all gonna make me cry. You're so sweet. Okay. Y'all are wonderful. You are the best of the best. All of you. Even if you don't put hearts. Just being here. I know. But y'all, I'm just being myself. Come on. Come on, Lindsay Blake. We want to hear what Ian's got to say. We've waited all this time. And no, we're probably not going to get to hear Melanie Pulowski, but I don't, at this point, I'm in this thing called acceptance. I've got to accept what I can't change, right? Now, jurors are in their seats, and Lindsay Blake will question Ian. Ian Pulowski, y'all. The guy who came in near the end to take the reins in the care of Melanie Pulowski as Chad and Lori took off and left everyone behind. Thank y'all all for being there. Y'all are the best. All of you. So again, y'all, Ian Pulowski, he's fixing to testify. It's only 3:02, so we could get about 30 minutes into it, and they might still be direct examining him tomorrow before a cross-examination. I love you too, Heather. I love all of y'all. I mean that. I truly do. That's pretty, Mom Jeans. Very pretty. Thank you, Dog Mom. I love you too. I love you all. Love you, Curly Shirley. Paula. Love you. Love you, Audrey Jensen. Oh, this is just a big love fest now, y'all. Here we go. Ian says he met Lori briefly right after he started to date Melanie between November 20th and November 25th. Now, let's stop. The welfare check was November 26th. He said he started to date Melanie between November 20th and 25th of 2019. Melanie is Lori's niece. Ian traveled to Arizona for Thanksgiving in 2019. I have to believe y'all, Ian is the key. I just have to. I've been saying it all this time. Thank you, Roberta. Oh, yeah, that's right, Goodwill Squatter. They were jumping right into that frying pan. Now, Ian met Chad the first time he met Lori at the apartment next to Melanie's in Rexburg. There was not much discussion the first time they met. Ian said Lori and Melanie had a close, supportive relationship. Was it so close that you went to Lori and Chad first before asking Melanie to marry you? And Ian says yes. So Ian Pulowski is telling everyone on the stand right in this moment that he went to Lori and Chad to ask if he could marry Melanie Pulowski. Now, does that make sense at all? That's sick. That's sick, y'all. He went to Lori and Chad to ask them if he could marry Melanie. Because Melanie Pulowski was what, y'all? She was in a cult. It's bizarre, isn't it, Mickey Kiker? That's sick, says Jess. Yeah, Goodwill Squatter. It's a cult. Yeah, Audrey Jensen says daughter. You imagine that? Ugh. Ian spoke with Lori less than a dozen times. Even fewer interactions with Chad. At some point in those conversations, did Lori talk to you about her purported beliefs? Blake asks, specifying religious beliefs. And Ian said she discussed beliefs about possession, about locking Satan away. Those are the two that stand out the most. And I'll tell you something right now, y'all. Lori had no power to lock Satan away. The only one that has any power over Satan is God Almighty. These people are nut jobs. The only locking away of Satan was in Lori's own body, in Chad's own body, if you really want to know the truth of the matter. Nobody has the power but God Almighty. Ian says Melanie was present for all the conversations he had with Lori. Lori brought up castings. Whenever Chad was present, Ian says Lori did most of the talking. There it is, y'all. Lori did most of the talking. And Chad acted as a support to what Lori was saying. Woo-wee, Ian. Let me just say that again. Lori says Lori did most of the talking and Chad acted as a support to what Lori was saying. And you know what? When we're talking about Chad Daybell being supportive of Lori, he needed to keep getting that nookie. He had to keep getting that poontang. He had to keep getting in them damn yoga pants. So yeah, he's going to be supportive of Lori. Just as he was supportive when she decided to murder her own children. Blake asked about multiple revelations and creations. Ian doesn't recall anything specifically about that from her. Well, I'll tell you what, Lori sure did all the talking, didn't she, y'all? Didn't Lori do all the talking? After Ian returned to Rexburg following Thanksgiving of 2019, Chad and Lori were gone. When you met her, did you ever see J.J. Vallow or Tylee Ryan? And Ian said no. Lori never said anything about where the kids were. Ian says he saw backpacks and luggage in Lori's apartment that looked like they were for kids. Ian is the key, y'all. I believe it. If this goes further than, and this is what we're thinking this is going to get, Rays, you know what I'm talking about. Oh no, Ian Pulowski. I think he was pussy whooped. That's what Ian was. That's what I think Ian was. I don't think he was knee deep in this cult. Some others disagree with me. Yeah, Tina, he is. He's still whooped over Melanie Pulowski, but he's scared of the law. And I think he understands where this is going. Ian says Lori never mentioned JJ or Tylee. Ian says he's LDS, and a large part of his belief is faith in revelation, and the church is a living thing. Ian says you have to maintain an open mind when new things come in, and that's where, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I'm not dogging anyone else, but when you maintain an open mind when new things come in, let me tell you what, there's only the Word of God. The Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end, the Holy Scripture. You're not going to get new things. You don't have to get new things. God's holy word, the Holy Bible, is enough. If I was going to learn something new, it would either be through one of the Lord's servants, or I would receive the revelation directly, says Ian. Ian says at that point in his life, he'd been through a rough divorce and was trying to rebuild himself. He was open to hearing other teachings. Well, isn't that special? He was so open to other teachings. It wasn't enough what he was being taught in the LDS. He also had an open mind. He had to be able to bring in new things. Well, I'll tell you what. Evil has a way of letting you think you're learning all these new things and see where it gets you. Ian says after a few days, he was not on board with what Lori was saying. He had a problem with the rankings of people being light and dark and who was good versus evil. The first time Ian heard about the light and dark system was from Melanie, who had heard it from Chad. Lori then referred to it in the conversations, but never directly explained it, says Ian. Lori told Ian that Detective Hermosillo and Detective Hope of Rexburg Police were zombies and dark. Jill Schneider says, I'd give my next paycheck to see Lori's face right now. Good one. Everybody was on that list. Michelle, everyone that didn't agree with Lori, everyone that threatened Lori or Chad were on the list. Ian said, the point where it really turned for me was the morning after I married Melanie. Melanie dumped everything on me and shared everything. We were staying at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, and my 2 children were with me. The next morning I got up and my daughter was gone. She was gone for about 15 minutes. She was nowhere. Finally, I hear some giggling from behind the curtain. After hearing everything I had from the night before, that was terrifying. At that point, I decided I wasn't going to give this a chance. I'm not going to mess with it. Now, Race, have we ever heard this? We've never heard this from Ian's document, y'all. But he's in Las Vegas. This is, what, the day after Zulema and Alex is getting married in Vegas? Melanie Pulaski and Ian's in Vegas, and Alex and Zulema stand up for them. But he says he's gone, that his daughter disappeared for 15 minutes, and after hearing all the stuff from the night before, it scared the hell out of him, basically. And he said, I decided I wasn't going to give this a chance. I'm not going to mess with it. Ian was worried for his safety, the safety of his children, and his ex-wife's safety, who is Natalie. On December 5th, less than a week after he married Melanie, Ian went to Rexburg Police. They asked me to listen and observe and report back. They also asked me to make recordings for them. Oh, Lord, y'all. I hope they play the recordings. He confirms that nothing is ever said about the whereabouts of the kids, but I just want to know how Melanie P's acting, don't y'all? So Ian is testifying, y'all, that the Rexburg police wanted him to do to be a spy, to listen and observe and report back. And they also wanted me to make recordings for them. Blake asked, in those recordings, did Chad and Lori ever confess to a crime? And Ian says no. And the recordings contain the religious beliefs Chad and Lori had according to Ian. Lori and Chad told Ian to cooperate as little as possible with law enforcement. There was an arrogant, flippant attitude toward law enforcement. Chad was pushing them to get out of town. Chad had a more serious tone. Lori had a lighthearted attitude toward cooperating with law enforcement. Y'all, this is getting good. This is getting me out of my slump, y'all. I think this is getting good. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? This is getting good. Right? Again, y'all, we're waiting on an update, but he said that Chad was pushing Melanie Pulaski and Ian to get out of town. Chad had a more serious tone, and Lori had a lighthearted attitude toward cooperating. Oh, my gosh. Lori's sitting at the defense table right now, y'all. Ian says Melanie looked to Chad and Lori as mother and father figures. Melanie was open to religious beliefs and told Ian, this is what they're saying. What do you think? And Ian says Melanie was absolutely closer to Lori over Chad. Blake has no further questions. Give me a break, y'all. John Thomas will do the cross-examination now. Y'all, why can't the state get a little more out of him? This is good, though, right? Right, y'all. Thomas says his cross-examination was focused on the recordings Ian did for law enforcement, and because they weren't played, he wants them retrieved so he can hear them. Blake asked for a sidebar, y'all. Let me repeat this. John Thomas says his cross-examination will be focused on the recordings Ian did for law enforcement. And because they weren't played, he wants them retrieved so that he can hear them. Blake asked for a sidebar. Well, she opened that door now, didn't she? Oh my gosh. Go, Ian, go, says K-Tech. Play them if you got them, says CIM. It's just a sidebar. No, Dee Dee, I don't want Lindsay Blake to win. I want to hear the damn recording. I want to hear Melanie Pulaski because she's too damn much of a coward to go on the stand. So we need to at least hear her voice telling Ian, oh, Lori's like a mother. Chad is like a father. Oh, I love my Aunt Lori. I don't think Ian's afraid to sleep with Melanie P. He's probably doing he's probably doing it to it every night in bed with her. He's whooped. Julie Co says, bring it on. Well, we're in a sidebar because John Thomas, he wants to hear those recordings that Ian done. And guess what? He brought them up indirect. And John Thomas has a right. Yes, Heather Strock, they are together. They have a child together. Yeah, I'm sure Melanie Pulaski, when Ian gets home after testifying, you're not getting any more of my nookie. Melanie Neese Reality. Look it up on this channel. I did a skit. Melanie Neese, before she leaves, to have to go to Boise to testify. I pretend, I wear a wig, and I pretend to be Melanie Neese. Some of y'all have watched it. It's pretty dang silly, but it proves a point. I didn't know then, though, that she doesn't have to get on the stand, does she? Melanie Pulaski does not have to get on the stand because she broke the rules of the subpoena that she was under, and she knew that she was going to break the exclusionary rule, and that's why she's not going to have to testify. Yeah, you'll like it. It's Melanie Neese Reality, and it has a picture of her face. I think I should earn a brownie button for that performance. Kaylin, she still gets visitation with Brandon's kids. They worked that out finally in custody. And I've told many of the Rays on here, I'm like, if he really thought she was trying to murder him and he was hiding because she was in a cult and all this, why in the hell is he not fighting tooth and nail? I know I would. Stella F., obviously John Thomas doesn't have them. John Thomas doesn't have the recordings in discovery because the state never gave it to him. But then again, think about it like this. That 40 minutes of that podcast, that wasn't in discovery. But because it was brought out in direct examination, Judge Boyce allowed them to listen to 40 minutes of it. These things happen. We're still in a sidebar, y'all. They're probably going to call it a day, y'all, because it's 3:23 now. But I'm going to wait and see if they ask him anything else or whether they say, let's call it a day. And I don't usually let people know this, but I'm just going to tell y'all now. After hearing that Melanie Pulaski is not going to testify, I don't think, that she has broke the exclusionary rule, I believe, because she's come out on the record to say she has. OKJ's probably going to have a good shot of whiskey tonight. So that audio will be out later on. Boyce says the defense intends to use the recordings and they need to be prepared. So court is dismissed for the day. So y'all, we know now. Those secret recordings that Ian did for the police with Melanie Pulaski and Lori and Chad, they're going to be played tomorrow, y'all. You just better believe it. Boyce has said it. The defense intends to use the recordings and they need to be prepared. So court is dismissed for today. So y'all, tomorrow will be another big day. We'll get together in the morning as usual. I love you all. Thank y'all for seeing me through these ups and downs. We'll get back together in the morning. Don't forget the audio this evening. Audrey Bartario has said a lot more, I'm sure, that Nate couldn't tweet out. I love you all. See you in the morning. Keep on looking.